Hello and welcome to another RCT2 hacking tutorial. It has been quite a while since we've done one of these videos, but our little park is still here and ever growing. I actually have a number of hacks already done and just need to record the videos at this point. So today we are going to be building a whip ride. So this one here, so let's take a look inside and see. This is just a simple shoestring. But what we're going to do is split the train into a bunch of pieces and put them back together a little bit further apart. So essentially a classic splitting tree. We've done these on other hacks before, notably the Starflyer hack also. It's pretty straightforward. In this case, it's just a matter of following the instructions, and we're going to go through it step by step. So it's going to be pretty easy to do this. Now, we don't quite get the same effect as a typical whip. So this is my setup here. It's 6 long by 3 wide. In actuality, the whip is kind of a continuous curve around the either edge, and the ride sort of stays level during the straight sections and then kind of whips out, hence the name, around the corners. This was an older style ride that's I had a little bit of a resurgence from some newer companies offering models of the type, but there's only a few of the originals left out there. So this is kind of my, as far as I was concerned, the best looking model of it. And this is with all base game objects, so you can easily do it. So let's jump in and build this. So the big thing that we're going to look at is this splitting tree, which you can see right here, and this is kind of my little test bit. So it looks complicated, as I've always said about these. They look complicated, but if you follow the step-by-steps, it's actually not that bad. We just have to remember our typical merging and reverse merging things. If you merge forward, it's 1 into 2. If you merge in reverse, you build the exit first and then the entrance. So knowing those things, we're going to get right in and build our own here. So let's grab our wooden coaster, because that's what we want first. And we're going to build a station approximately where we want it. So let's go ahead first, and then we'll mark out and say, okay, we want to have this location, which is a 3 by 6. And you can see that right up here. So that's where we want our ride. And I'm going to build this wooden coaster right in the center here, because it's easy. And now you can place where you want your entrance and exit. The nice thing is that if they're placed here inboard of your square, your guests are going to queue right up to the space. So we're going to do something like this. Now, it's good to place this before you place your ring dummy track around, because sometimes if that track is already down, it won't let you properly place the huts. So we're going to do that. Okay, so next up, we're going to switch over to a splitting track. So this will allow us to delete this track when we're done, save some space. All right, so we're going to do that right now. And what I'm going to do is go into a lift hill. And the idea is just to get this up and out of the way, up high. So it doesn't interfere with any paths we have underneath, and in some cases rides that you might have around your space. The idea is just to get it up high, out of the way, and out of harm's way, I suppose. So we're going to have a flat to steep, 3 steeps, and then a shallow, and then finally flat with lift hill. Let's do that. Let's turn that on. Flat to steep, 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to have to go in here and disable support limits. Then we're going to level off slowly and disengage our chain. Okay, as you can see, this is a bit of a jumble when you look at it with the height markers on. So we're going to turn those off here for a minute. And let's get in here and just confirm how many straight pieces we need. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we're going to turn the corner and do another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we're going to go up steep and then shallow. Okay, so with that lift hill turned off, reminder to turn it off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Steep. Oop. No, back it up. Steep up, and then shallow to stop. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this set up. So we want a lift hill chain speed of 2 miles per hour, which is really agonizingly slow, I understand. but the idea is you want it to hit this reverse point at just the right time. The whole thing splits apart and is happy. We'll change this to our articulated roller coaster trains. We only need the one train. And we're going to go with a 13 car train. We actually have 2 leftovers. We have our control and then 1 leftover here. And that was just in order to get this to split properly, there was a leftover one. That's how it happened. So we'll just deal with it. So if we go ahead and reset this just so you can kind of see how it works, let's speed up our game here. And you can see even at 4 times speed, we're still not going very fast. But like I said, the idea is that it comes off the lift hill and is just slow enough here that it will reverse and split into a number of 2s and 1 3. There's that 3 down there on the 5th one down. Split again. And then that 3rd one is going to have a 2 now. And we're going to split that one another time. And now we just put it all back together. Like I said, it looks complicated, but you just have to follow the step-by-step and we'll get there. And this is, honestly, these aren't that difficult to make. They're just a little bit tedious, so if you want to devise your own, you can certainly do that if you want to have different kind of spacing. It's just all in how you control your track. So in general, what I suggest is you get a split everything exactly how you want it, and then you put it back together, starting with one track, and then adjusting all the other tracks to match the spacing that you want against that one. So if we speed this up, you can see it all comes back together just like this. Alrighty, so let's get on back to this. Now we have 6 straight bits, and we are going to split this into 6 different sections. We're actually going to name these, we'll just number them, I suppose, just so it is easier for us to figure out. But each one of these is going to have a curve, and then we're going to drop once, a flat, and then shallow and steep. So we're going to drop once, a flat, shallow, and steep. We're going to start at the back here because this lets us just demolish the next one. And then start right here from the get-go once again. Flat bit, shallow, and steep. It's all more or less just matching the same stuff. We're halfway through now. Matching the exact same stuff here. There we go, and then the very last one here, shallow and steep. Okay, so now with our clearances turned on, disabling clearance checks, we're going to do all 6 of these reverse merges at once because we built them like this. So we built the exit first, and now we're going to build the entrance for each of these. You're going to go 1, it's going to automatically default you to the corner, so click straight again and do that for all 6 of these. Okay, so now your 13 car train is going to split into these different amounts. So that's our first little bit. Okay, so now we're going to prep ourselves just a little bit. So I'm going to select on the Wild Mouse track. I'm going to select an alternate color scheme, and we're going to make this one black. And we're going to go ahead and paint the entire ride. And the reason we're going to do this is it just makes it a little bit easier to see what you're doing, especially when it gets a little bit messy and you have the height markers and everything. Not a requirement, but just some best practices there. Okay, we're having 2 levels here, so we split this up into its different 6 parts, and then we're going to split each of these again. So we're going to have a lower section that comes off of the slope, and then we're going to have a flat section here, which is our upper section. Because the lower section is harder to see, that's where we're going to start. So you can see this if we spin around here, this black section that's kind of dropping straight down from the slopes here. So you can see it's actually, I can click it right, it's, just a second ago, there we go. You have this first one, which you can see right there underneath the red, the flashing one more, and then you go flat. So that's how we're going to start with all of these. 1, 2, and flat. Very easy. 1, 2, and flat. 1, 2, and flat. 1, 2, and flat. 1, 2, and flat. Finally, one more. 1, 2, and flat. Okay, so now we get in here and we're going to build back each of these connections. So we built our exit and now we're building our entrance. These are more reverse merges. We're going to do that for all 6 of these, and there we are. Okay. So next up, and actually one of the things that I did forget about is our very first one here. We're going to replace our straight bit here with a 9 mile/hour brake. And the reason that we're doing that is because the brake will allow us to slow the whole train down just enough so that it hits the right angles that we wanted to hit. Okay, so now we're going to look at this as 6 different sections, and this is the part where it's really just following the instructions step by step, because it's designed with each of these lengths to split apart the train and put them back together at the proper spacing. We're going to call this first one here, the one closest to the reverse spike, this is track number 1. This is track 2, track 3, track 4, track 5, and track 6, all in a row. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is click on our very end piece now here, because we've gone 2 down and flat. And then the very first thing we're going to do here is we are going to turn right, turn left, turn right. So we're going to do a little slalom there, right, left, right. Then we're going to go 2 straights, 1, 2. We're going to slope up. Then we're going to go flat. So that's as far as we're going to go right now, and you can kind of see that right to here. Now our second one, let's go get our second one here. This is going to be straight, right, and 2 more straights. And that's going to merge right back into 1. Make sure you still have your disable clearance checks turned on. Okay, so that's already 2 merged together, so now we have less tracks than we started with. Now we're on to number 3, clicking down here. So number 3 is going to be 2 straight pieces, 1 and 2. And then we're going to do a right-hand turn, a left-hand turn, a right-hand turn twice, a left-hand turn twice, a straight section, a right-hand turn, quick slope up, and a flat. And then we're going to send a bunch of straight pieces. Bunch of these. Doesn't matter how many you put right now. Just get past your break, or your station track here. So that's number 3. A little bit wonky, but if we look in here, you can kind of see it buried up in there. Just to make sure everything gets lined up. Okay, so number 4 now. This is the next one. So we're going to go straight 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to turn to the right. And then we're going to go 2 more straight pieces, and then we're going to merge right in. So we've already taken 4 tracks here and put them into 2. Now we're up to number 5. Number 5, we are going to go 4 straight pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn right. Turn left. Turn right twice. Turn left. We're going to slope up. We're going to go flat. We're going to go left. We're going to go right. We're going to go straight 3 pieces. 1, 2, 3. And now what we're going to do actually is take this whole thing and we're going to turn it into Junior Coaster Track. So make sure in your cheats menu you have pretty much everything enabled. Just it's easiest to just enable it all. The only one that I don't enable is allow building track at invalid heights, because we don't want that right now. So we change this over to our Junior Coaster Track after we built 3 straight pieces. We're going to do 2 S-bends. S-bend left first, and an S-bend right. Make sure it's left and right, because otherwise it's going to merge into the track next to it. We don't want to do that. Okay, once you've finished those, then we're going to change right back into that Steel Wild Mouse, and then do a right and a left. Now you'll notice those two pieces have gone away, but they're still there. It's just invisible. It's not an issue. You don't have to be looking at them. If you want to see them, you can build in a dummy track, but you're just going to end up making that invisible later too, so it's not really worth your time. Okay, so there is our setup. So the next thing is we want to go to number 6. Number 6 is going to have 5 straight pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to turn right, and then we're going to do 2 straight pieces pretty much the same way. So 2, 4, and 6 are all doing the same thing and merging right into 1, 3, and 5. So as hopefully easy as that was, there is your lower portion. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing that we did before with the colors, and we're going to paint all this alternate 1. Just going to make it a whole lot easier when we have to get into the various individual parts and pieces. A little bit challenging with the Wild Mouse track, but worth it, in my opinion. Take the time to make it easy to see, make it easy to understand. Now you can do these splits with changing things in Tile Inspector, but this one, as I've always said with these hacks, is a set it and forget it hack, so you don't have to worry about it at all. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do here is find our slope bit, and it's probably best to see it at this angle. So this is our initial split where we split down, and we're leveling out here. We want to demolish that piece on all of these because we're building another reverse. Okay, you can see we're disconnected now on a couple of these, although like you say, if you look at this at a different angle, it's a little bit fuzzy. So if you look at it from here, you can pretty obviously see it. We're going to right click on that first break. So this is track number 1 again. We're going off of that break section. We are going to start with a straight piece. You can kind of see a little bit here going on. So what we're going to do is run 2 straight pieces. And then we're going to come in here and we're going to do brakes at 4 miles per hour. And these brakes are key to slowing it down to the right speeds. So now you're going to do 2 right-hand turns and then just build this out for now. We'll get to it in a little bit. Okay, so track number 2, let's make sure we got that clicked right. Okay, so track number 2, we're going to take and we're going to go 3 straight pieces. 1, 2, 3. We're going to turn right. We're going to turn left. We're going to turn right. We're going to go straight. We're going to slope down. And go flat. Straight 2. Right. Left. And then 2 more straights. And actually what we want to do here is let's go ahead and tie in our lower section. So here we have, the lower section of tracks 1 and 2. Let's change this back over to Junior Coaster. And Junior Coaster. We're going to give it an S-bend. Just like that. And here I'll kind of show you on this one what we're doing. S-bend, straight, and then a double S-bend. S-bend, straight, and then a double S-bend. Now we're merged into that long stick that we put in there before. We go back to Steel Wild Mouse, now we're connected. So track number 2, upper level, is already connected to the lower level tracks. This track number 1, by the way, that goes out here, this is our control because it is car number 1. So this one we'll get to a little bit later. Okay, so let's take number 3 now. Number 3 is going to have 4 straight pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go to the right. We're going to have 2 straight pieces, and we're going to merge right into track number 2. Kind of what we did down below. So relatively straightforward there. Okay, number 4. Number 4, we're going to go 7 straight pieces. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so now what we're going to do is do 2 rights. We're going to do a left. And we're going to slope down. We're going to go flat. And we're going to hit one more straight piece, and then we've already merged into the space below. You know it's merged when you can't click anything more on your track. Okay, so now we are connected up for 2, 3, and 4. Now for number 5. Okay, so number 5, we're going to go straight 2, and then we're going to add a 13-mile-per-hour brake. And then we're going to go to the left, and then we're going to add another 13-mile-per-hour brake. This is just to get the thing to the right speed. Sometimes even if it doesn't look like the brake is useful, it is. Okay, and then we're going to go shallow up, and a steep up. Okay, we're actually going to leave that there because what we're going to get back to in a minute is splitting those last ones. Remember when we tested this and the number 5 section had 3 cars? So this is to split those last couple of cars. So slightly annoying and a bit of a hassle, but it's easy enough to get done. Okay, and then number 6 here, we're going to take number 6 and we're going to go straight, then we're going to go left, and then we're going to send this off also into the abyss. And we will take care of that a little bit later. This is that extra one that we don't need in order to get our spacing correct. So right here, what you see is 11 vehicles that are all working just fine. We have 12, our control vehicle, and then this is Unlucky 13, who's just doing his own thing. And it's just a matter of getting the thing to split properly. You can probably get this to time so you don't need that extra one, but this is where I derived it to, and I don't really find the need to change it because we're just fine working on it as we currently are. Okay, so now we need to remember to go back and connect in these bits and pieces here. So we're going to go back and click on that slope, and then we're going to do a level out and connect it back in. I know you can barely see it because as soon as we click on this, all of the numbers come on, so we'll turn those off. So that is, let's see here, height markers on ride tracks. You can see all we're doing is a level piece here, and we're going to do it for all 6 of these. So we've done it for 2 so far, 3, 4, 5, 6. And your eyes can go a little bit cross-eyed doing some of this, so don't worry, just pick different colors that give you enough contrast so you can really see what you're doing, and don't be afraid to use all of those colored, all the alternate colors. Okay, so now we have our everything connected pretty much. We have our control track going out, our Unlucky 13 going out. All the other ones are going this way except for the 2 cars that are going to be part of this little reverse section here coming back to this spike. So you can kind of see what we did here is we have this little spike here. What we're going to do is basically mirror this an above and a below section here. So just kind of bear with me and we'll get this done. So you take this, we have our track that turns out to this slope. Get rid of that one. Now you'll right click on the brake here connected to the slope up that's going to end, and we want to do 2 turns. And then we're just going to put a couple out. It can be however many you want, to be honest, because the car is actually going to stop and reverse in the other direction. Okay, now take the bottom of the 2 slope pieces, this flat to shallow, get rid of that. Now we click on the remaining slope piece. Let's turn off those ride markers here so you can see it. It'll let me. There we go. So I'm actually going to make a sloped piece, which it won't let me turn off the ride markers for, but we're going to go down and then we're going to go flat. We're going to go 2 corners. Should let me change now. There we go. Okay, so you can see I went a shallow downward piece, then a flat. 2 corners. You'll notice it's stacked one over top of the other. And then we're going to do the same thing and go out to however many we want to do. It doesn't matter. Now we need to put back these 2 things that we took off earlier. So we'll put back this corner, and then we'll go through here and put back this slope. Okay, almost there. So we have gone forwards up to this split, backwards down this split, forwards up to this split. Now we're going backwards again, and the last thing to do is send them forwards once more. So we're going to start with this bottom piece. We're going to delete this one. and we're going to do a curve. So we will come out of that bottom one and we will curve. Now we're going to go a shallow up, a shallow down, a right-hand curve, a straight piece, and there we are. We are merged back in. So basically we're curving and then we're going up and merging into upper level number 4 right here, which you can kind of see on this one. And now don't forget to put back that curve piece. One more. Take this top one, get rid of it. Now we're going to come in and we're going to do 2 left-hand corners. So 1 and 2, and now a right-hand corner. Okay, so now we're just going to follow this one. Low slope, flat, 2 right-hand corners, 2 left-hand corners, 2 right-hand corners, 1 more left-hand corner, 4 straight pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, right hand, left hand, and that's going to merge us in. We are merged into this section right here. Last bit, don't forget to put back the entry point into that reverse merge. All right, your merging is done now, but we're going to go ahead and test it, make sure we have no issues. So let's close this off. Let's put a circle on that end. Close this off. We'll put a circle on this end. And then up here, we're going to go forward a little bit more. We're going to go 1 across. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then set that up, because that is what the final design is going to look like below. Okay, 13 cars with a 2-mile-per-hour lift hill. Now we need to change it to boat hire mode, which will let us operate with a non-complete circuit and test. While that is testing, let's, this is where you find all the issues. And the issue here is that I didn't even merge the station into the first track. We have that flat bit of track that we have there, put another flat bit of track. Now it's merged. If your ride stops and causes an issue, thankfully it's not going to crash in OpenRCT, at least crash the game. So just figure out where your train stopped and then figure it out from there. Okay, so now we're at the 2 miles per hour. While we're waiting for that to get up, let's take a wooden wild mouse track, just because I think those look the best for this application. And we're going to put a counterclockwise section right here and turn off this so you can kind of see what we're doing. Just following the outside of our 3x6 design. Just like that. You can make these in any size and shape you want. There's nothing to say that it has to be an oval like this. You can really do whatever you like. Okay. So we are almost there. Let's get to naming these two. So this is going to be the visible track. This is going to be our ride itself. So we're going to call this the whip. And then let's watch this split happen. Okay. There we go. We've split into a couple pieces, but we'll notice that the 3 section was actually on number 4 there. So that's an interesting one. So what we're going to do is run one more section of chain lift here. Just change the speed ever so slightly. And then we're going to see what happens. And what might be the issue is that's going to go just a little bit too fast. It sure has. We'll get rid of this straight bit. Make sure we are at 2 miles per hour. 2 miles per hour indeed. 13 cars. 13 cars. Try this once more. What we did there is we added 2 pieces of track to our initial turnaround just to give it a little bit more length so it slows down a little bit more quickly. And we'll notice that that didn't quite do it for us, so I'm going to try doing that once more actually. Okay, so you'll notice what we did is added 2 pieces here. Oh. We'll let our chain lift do its thing. So we added essentially 2 straight pieces of the turnaround that we had before, and then 2 more straight pieces. And this is the challenge of finicky hacks like this. Sometimes it'll operate like it's supposed to, other times it's just going to not do it because it's going to be a pain for whatever reason. All right. So we can watch it stop and reverse as we split apart those last 2 pieces, which you can see right here. And now they're going to stop and go forward once again. We're creeping through just barely here. But everybody should come back together here relatively quickly. You'll notice we ran out of speed, which is fine. What we can do is go back through here. And let's make this little circle a chain lift. That way we've got a powered section. Okay, so let's speed this up here, get through. Split this again. And this is really just a check. Make sure we're good. You notice we already caught 2 problems with it, so this is a good test of kind of what we need to do. Okay, there everybody's lining up nicely. You'll notice the spacing isn't necessarily 100% perfect, but it's pretty darn close. Close enough that I'm happy with it. If you want to adjust further, certainly doable. Miniature golf holes are your friend for fine-tuning little sections. Okay, so that means that we are in good shape now. So what we need to do first is go back just to make sure we don't delete too much. Let's flip back to this junior coaster track, and we are going to mark the first of the straight bits right after that junior coaster goes in and turn back to the wild mouse. The reason we do that is that now we have a measurement about how far back to delete this. I don't want to delete too much and not be able to make that work. All right, so let's connect in. The idea right now is we want to connect this into the loop here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go 2 corners here. Steep, steep, steep. And you'll notice this is just a matter of trying to get it to merge in. Now, one of the things, if you want to delete this wild mouse track at some point, make sure that when you put this in, so we're merging it here on this curve. So now we're actually merged in. If we get rid of the, let's get rid of our huts here quickly. Entrance. So you'll see that we went down, we leveled on the last straight piece, and then we merged in on the curve. If you delete this whole section, that curve is going to disappear for the wooden wild mouse. So do it while this is paused and then rebuild that section there, because otherwise your ride's going to crash and then you will have just deleted the whole splitting thing that will let you reset it. Okay. So now we are faced with our 2 bits, our control bit and our extra bit. If we look underground over here, we can see that I didn't build that on that side. We're not going to look underground there. What we're going to do is just build it. So let's get ourselves a mini coaster train. It doesn't really matter. We can do whatever we want. But underground here, we'll pick, we'll just kind of move it down and then put it underground. Just so happens that this is going to be, it marks on ride tracks. This is going to be negative 30 feet in this instance. Okay, I'm going to put 2 sections, why not? And then we will do a big oval. So this is our control track. So the control track wants to be below the ride area so that the peeps don't go elsewhere on your map. So you want to be basically parallel to and underneath of your original station. We're going to make this thing a big oval. Be as long as you want it to be. Okay. I am also going to leave a section off of this. We will just use a different track. You can use whatever you like. But anyway, what I realized I did not do, though, is put chain lift on this. So this is your control track, and your control track wants to have chain lift on the thing, or the booster feature. I find chain lift to be easier. So we're just going to put chain lift on this whole thing. Around the corner with the chain lift engaged. That's one of those cheats that you enabled earlier. Get through here. Engaged, and then at the very end here, I'm going to disengage the chain for a couple of pieces, and then I'm going to put 2 brakes here. I'm going to put one at 13 miles per hour and one at 9. You do not need to place huts down here. Okay, so this was our control track right here. And what we want to do is dive down and connect this over. But what I want to make sure that I do, and part of this is just deleting it to be compact, we're going to come over. This is all arbitrary, just connecting it. But what I don't want to do, you remember this secondary split here that we have at the end, and all the trains that we had already split stopped, backed up a little bit, and then went forward again for this one. We don't want to start this one down before that happens, because otherwise it'll screw up all those future ones. So that should be enough. We'll test it and see. But okay, so now we're diving down to this spot. $30 right here. We can excuse the numbers that we've got for our Starflyer split. Okay. Now we're going to turn back in and then go straight, and that's going to merge that one in. Same deal happens down here. If you do delete the wild mouse track later, you'll need to place this one back. Don't forget to do that, or your ride will crash. Okay, the last thing that we have is the awkward one down here. And what we want to do is actually just take a wild mouse track, and we want to build a separate little path of some kind underneath. So here we are. I'm just one underneath. You can go a couple more. If you're doing theming, you probably need to put it a little bit further, so we'll drop it down one more. Okay. You want this to stay within your zone of the rest of the ride up above, because otherwise the peeps are going to walk to something else. And this can just be an oval. It can be whatever size it wants to be. Just get it out of the way and make sure it doesn't cross with anything else. Okay. Same thing happens over here that we talked about with the dropping the first one down. We want to make sure we have enough space, which we know this is enough space. So let's turn around and we can start to bring this thing down. That's at negative 15, so now we are at negative 15 also. Let's get in here, delete this, and add that in. Again, same issue if you delete the Steel Wild Mouse. This section of track will go away, and so you'll need to rebuild that section with the game paused, otherwise your ride will crash. Okay, so as messy as that is, now we're done. Let's test this. Zoom our time speed up here a little bit. Okay. We actually allowed more than enough room for our first bit and our little extra car there. Okay, let's close this up. kind of watch how everything comes together. This is all going to happen fast once this guy drops. Okay, so there we are. We are stopped in our control station down below. You'll notice that these are still on the slope. That's fine, does not matter. This one's not even made it to its little circle track yet. So we are going to release this at normal speed. Test this once more. So you'll notice that the chain lift here is going to carry this around. We got some propulsion from these guys that were on the slope here. So that's what's actually carrying this one through, and it's holding pretty well because the momentum of these guys takes care of a lot of things there. So we want to go back and change this now, because once this stops, here we go. We take off. Now we're going to take off at 2 miles per hour, which is not ideal. What we want to do is pick the kind of speed that we want. Let's up this something like, you could do 15, you could do 20. Let's see what I've got this one set up as. This one is set up at 1 mile per hour, which is not correct. 13 is what that one's set up as. So you can kind of do whatever you want. This is maybe a little bit fast, perhaps. So maybe we go down and select 15 instead. Perhaps that's right. This ride's a little bit short. You may want to extend this oval a little bit. What we added these brakes for is that it gives the ride a little bit more natural slowdown, so it doesn't feel like it automatically just scorches to a halt. So definitely don't want that. Okay, so now that we are there, we can take this whole thing, then turn this to Cricket House mode just because it gets rid of it. Then we can take our main track here, and we're just going to turn this one to elevator, which is going to drop our pieces just a little bit, but it's also going to quiet down our lift hill also. So no real issues there. This track down below, this little blue oval, we can get rid of if we want to. We can leave it, doesn't really matter. It's underground, so I don't think you would really care. Same thing with our control track. But now up above, we can theme this. We can kind of do whatever we want. Connect up your queue lines. Remember, we made the huts invisible earlier. If you haven't done that, you'll need to do that, and then you connect up your queue line beforehand. But that is the whip ride. So I think it was good that we ran into some issues, because you can kind of see a little bit of the troubleshooting process that we went through to fix those things. It's likely you're going to encounter some of these hacks, because you'll notice some of those issues during hacks. I mean, you'll notice that we had this one set up and we built the other one exactly the same way. This one splits just a little bit differently than that one. It's just different kind of weird mechanics in the game. So it's not to say this is 100% foolproof. Sometimes it needs a little bit of adjustment to make that happen. But now we can say that we've done it, and we have our whip ride here and here in themed environment, I suppose. Okay, so that is everything that we have for today. That is a pretty simple, straightforward ride. The hack is a little bit complicated, but again, just kind of go step by step and troubleshoot where you need to, and there you have it. So our little park continues to grow. We are getting bigger and bigger, and we're going to get even larger. Next time, we're going to do another roller coaster. So until next time, thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.